Can you be a voice for a community you don't belong to and still make an impact?
I met incredible talents in my life, and they just overlooked because of their abilities or disabilities.
You dream of a day where people of determination is hired not as an exception,
Yes.
but as the normal part of the recruitment process.
My mission is to have one hire in every organization, regardless it's a small, medium, big organization. People know nothing about the challenges, the barriers, just for a profession of people with determination or people with disability is just to show up today.
So they are better problem solvers than us.
I believe in this, but I don't want to be biased. I don't want to keep defending until I became biased the other side. No, it's I believe it's a trait, it's a talent that they can bring to the team. Our senior vice president, he came out of this meeting and he said, I have never imagined taking a lot for granted like this. I want this to be in every executive meetings.
Do you ever get tired of explaining why disability inclusion matters?
I just get better in answering it in 50 different ways.
She chose this path out of passion, out of conviction, out of a deep belief that every person deserves to belong and to be independent.
The last study by Accenture, companies with disability inclusion get 28% higher revenues than their peers.
Today, we go beyond policies and diversity statements. We talk about invisible barriers. We talk about mindsets. We talk about what it takes to lead real change, not just on paper, but in people's hearts. Welcome to Lead2Impact, the show where we spotlight the difference makers. I am your host, Sajna Samad, and today we begin with a question that has been on my mind for a very long time. Can you be a voice for a community you don't belong to and still make an impact? Our first guest, Shuruk Elwarrak, is living proof that it is possible. Before founding Enabled, she led disability inclusion efforts inside Procter Gamble, one of the world's leading companies, and continues to drive change outside through Enabled, the purpose-driven consultancy she founded. Enabled helps organizations embed disability accessibility and inclusion into their core. Her impactful work has earned her prestigious recognitions both inside and outside the corporate world, regionally and globally, including the I Lead with My Heart Award from the UAE Ministry of Community Development. What moved me most about Shuruk's story is that she didn't become an advocate because she had to. She chose this path out of passion, out of conviction, out of a deep belief that every person deserves to belong and to be independent. Today, we go beyond policies and diversity statements. We talk about invisible barriers. We talk about mindsets. We talk about what it takes to lead real change, not just on paper, but in people's hearts. Welcome, Shuruk, to the Lead2Impact show. It's a pleasure to have you here. I can't think of a better way to kickstart this podcast series.
Thank you so much for the amazing introduction, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be kicking off this show with you, Lead2Impact. I think I couldn't have dream of something better to start podcast like for Lead2Impact. And thank you so much, especially thanking for you trying to shed light on purpose-driven leadership. I think this is what we need in the corporate world.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to keep doing and to know that it actually makes an impact. Thank you so much.
You are. Thank you.
Great. So you have had a flourishing corporate career.
Yeah.
You are working with one of the biggest brands in the world, Procter Gamble.
Yes.
Right? And you left all of that to pursue this mission this purpose of yours,
Yeah.
which is being an advocate for people of determination or people of disabilities,
Yes.
right? I'm curious to know, why did you leave all that glamour and glitz of the corporate world to pursue this mission of yours?
Yeah, okay. So I just wanted to say it's not like I left something. It's actually I moved toward another thing. So I would love to think it in the other way around. So I moved about toward bigger impact, driving bigger change. Okay. So of course in Procter and Gamble, I have led many for almost 12 years now, disability inclusion in the company in different regions. However, I think that is still there is a gap that needs to be filled. And if I see this gap, I think I am the one to fill it. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Like it's like I see people are not still dealing with this in a structured way, in a purpose-driven way. People still think about this is a good to have, a nice to have, which is not what I want to do. So I think like leaving and moving toward enabled is what I really actually wanted to do since a very long time. And hopefully we make more changes with this.
So, what did you see or you experienced which made you feel that this issue is yours to carry?
Actually, two things, okay? The first one is that I met incredible talents in my life, and they just overlooked because of their abilities or disabilities, like they just get excluded because of this. They can do, whoever can do. People don't look for qualifications. They don't look about what they want to do or what they can do. And they only look about disabilities. So of course, this has left me feeling very bad. That is a change need to be done here. And the second thing, it's not only a change, but a true change. And you know what I mean, okay?
Yeah, I know.
So definitely you can see people talking like, disability inclusion, what a great purpose, something like this. But when you come to reality, you did not find the independency that people with determination needs or actually deserve, So I think this is the two things that has actually kept me moving.
Made you do it.
Yeah.
Great. So, amidst all of that journey, you had a long journey advocating for people with disabilities, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever doubted yourself and questioned yourself, thinking that, who am I to speak about it? Right? Because you don't have a personal experience in that particular area. So, have you ever questioned yourself like that? And if you did, how did you move through that?
I will surprise you. I never had this doubt, honestly. I don't know from where I'm getting this trust, but I never doubted myself because simply, Sajna, I see that it's not about talking on behalf of people with disabilities or people with determination. It's about giving them the space to talk, So my duty, my job is not to speak on behalf of someone because I couldn't. But I can give the space. I can help the systems to accommodate people with disability. And this is my mission. And that's why it's easy for me. I never doubted it. I never thought like, why should I do this? I'm not doing that. And also, of course, because I see it as a business advantage also. I see it's good for growth, good for business also, and good for the community and for the economy, This is how I see it. So I think it's not like really I'm doubting. But by the way, people keeps asking me about it.
But I guess that's what happens when purpose knocks at your door and you just realize that this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then you cannot just leave it there. You want to pursue it no matter what.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what you're saying.
It's because you saw something, Sajna. So if you have a broken glass and you're just walking away, and then you found the broken glass, you would do something, of course.
True.
Yeah. So this is the same. It's like for me, I saw no representation for people with disabilities. I can walk us through the office and the office is fully accessible, but we have no hires.
Yeah.
Imagine like it's a zero ROI. I used to say it like it's a zero IOI. Everything is accessible. Everything is brilliant and all of the But then you don't have someone to experience. You don't have someone in your team with this. So if you see it, just do it.
Yes, just do it, right?
Exactly.
Just do it.
Yes.
So, yeah, as part of Enable, you work with a lot of organizations.
Yeah.
And when I was speaking to you earlier, you mentioned that one of the reasons you started Enabled because you dream of a day where people of determination is hired not as an exception,
Yes.
but as the normal part of the recruitment process.
Yes, of
Right?
course. Of
So
course.
I would like to know, based on your experience, what is one thing companies get completely wrong about disability inclusion?
Oh, can I say two things, not one?
You can say, you can.
Okay. So the first one, they always think that it's expensive. Like, to have someone with disability on site, oh, that's expensive. I need to do a ramp. I need to print a braille. I need to do like disability toilet, something like this. So people think about very expensive way of having, of course, in some cases you need huge things to be done. But in other cases, and for some disabilities, it's not really that. So you can do a little bit of accommodations and a little bit of very small stuff that can make everyone's life easier, And the second thing is actually they took this as a charity, not a business advantage. And here where things blocked. So when you go and ask for a budget for hiring, if you always make this as an exception or a separate budget or something like this, that would really make it on the next agenda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True, yes.
So if it came naturally, if it came part of the normal hiring process, if it's by default, there is a specific quota, or even you just open the space to see talents with disabilities, I don't think that this would go for where we talk budgets. It will go as a normal business decision you are taking, and then you see the end of mind. So the fact is, Sajna, by studies, Accenture, the last study by Accenture, companies with disability inclusion who adopt disability inclusion actually get 28% higher revenues than their peers, So just worldwide, the income coming out of people with disabilities, their families and friends, is $13 trillion. Okay. So if you're talking business, I can talk with you business, so I would really love companies to have it as a business advantage. It's not a charity. It's not something aside of the system. And this is my ultimate goal, to be very honest.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I agree with you because there is research after research after research about how inclusion, not only disability inclusion, but inclusion in generally support organizations to be more profitable and more successful. Because the more you are diverse and the more you are inclusive, you have more perspectives and ideas and thoughts onto the table.
Correct.
So how does Enabled help organizations to make disability inclusion more than just a checklist item?
Yeah, okay. So we have 5 pillars. Okay. So the first pillar is awareness, as you rightly said. Okay. So, and for me, by the way, this is much more important than the office accessibility, because you make the mind accessible, okay?
Exactly.
You make the people mind acceptable also to see a friend, a peer who is with different abilities and they are coming on site and they have a different perspective, they deal in a different way or something like this. So I think it's the first pillar is awareness, where we build actually the awareness of the organization itself, including the peers, the managers, everyone, the executives in the organization. The second one is related to accessibility, and both, of course, office accessibility and also digital accessibility. So now in AI era, we cannot ignore this.
True.
We have to talk also about digital accessibility. I think we will talk also about this later.
Course, yes.
And the third one is employment itself. As you rightly said, I want this to be as a normal part of the hiring process. It's not something exceptional. And everyone can fit on the system. And this is very important, that your system can literally accept everyone who's coming. The fourth pillar is brand accessibility. And I think we have a lot to do about this in GCC and UAE and Saudi also. I think it's very important now to start to think about how our products are accessible. We offer solutions for this, by the way, in our companies and global partnerships. And the fifth one is, of course, partnerships and making sure that the organization is into the ecosystem that provide the sustainability of what we're doing. If you want to say it like this, yeah.
Okay. So whatever you said, it totally resonates with me. Me being an advocate for women in tech, for women in AI specifically, what we ask for is not special treatment. What we ask is to be valued despite our differences and valued for the ideas, the perspectives, the thoughts we bring onto the table.
Yeah.
Right. So I totally hear you. I totally hear you on that.
You know, Sajna, you remind me of something. Like I was talking to someone, he's a hiring manager, and then I think we were discussing like having someone blind on a certain job. And you know, the first thing they just heard is like, but he can do this. Something like this, you know, like this is what I wanted to remove, Sajna, you know, like resonating with what you said, like why same way if you have a woman in place and then you can like women with the children and then you apply for a job and then but how you will do this with your kids like something like this. So I think this is this moment of that happens for a moment, for a second in your mind. This is what we want to take out, you know.
It's true. It's all about seeing the skill sets more than the person, right? What value do we bring onto the table,
or simply ask, like, or simply say like, can you do this? Like, this job will require 1, 2, 3. Will you be able to do this? How can I support you to do this? Another question.
These are the kind of conversations hiring managers and leaders should have. And I've seen how pregnant women are treated when they're into the hiring cycle. They generally don't get hired. So this is
I once got excluded, by the way, in one of the jobs because of this. He said to me like, you're brilliant, I would love to have you in my team, but you have kids. I said, okay. And you're married and all of this. It looks okay.
Now imagine if every company could just do one thing tomorrow to make disability inclusion a thing. What would you ask for?
Hire someone. Just
simple as that.
Simple as this. You know why? Because it's a journey, correct? Okay, so you will never knew. Okay, you have doubts. All of us have doubts. You might come and but we're not ready. But we don't have X, Y, and Z. But we need someone like this. But which disability I will take? But what job I will? You will never get to learn about this until you hire someone. Of course, I'm not saying you experiment in someone hiring, but the moment you decided to hire, you will start thinking in a structured way. Like you will take step by step. And of course, like if you have someone to help with you like this, I'm not talking enabled only, but I think other organizations who can take you step by step through the thinking, through starting from the very beginning, like, where is the skill set that we need? Where can disability fit? Where is the safety could be for part of like for manufacturing side, for example, you need to have a certain specification and safety to make sure that the people are not harmed if they have a hearing loss or something like this. You know, so one thing is just hire. Just start to hire. You will make an impact for yourself as a company. You will go through the learning curve.
Yes.
And also the employee will also appreciate this, you know. And if you just set the tone from the very beginning, we're just going through this journey together, I think it will be brilliant.
Yeah, it's true, right? If you want to do something different, you have to just start doing it and then it just happens. You will find a way to make it happen.
Yes.
So you said earlier that your work is not just limited to people with disabilities or organizations. It's all about changing people's mindset.
Yeah.
Right?
90% of what I'm doing, by the way, is not with people with disability, because as I told you, we have a great talents in the market. The other way around is really needs to change. Like the shifting paradigm, how people see this, how people want this also, because this is important. Because yes, you might have the systems, You might have everyone's support, but still the mental barrier is here. Like, how can I do this? What can I do? And on the contrary, by the way, there is a lot of people who already started this journey and they did not recognize, by the way. I was talking to someone a few weeks back, and he was telling me, like, I never dealt with someone with disability. And then I said, like, no, just think a little bit. And then he started to think, and he found that he used to have 2 people like already reporting, and he already interviewed one, like, and this is what we want, like, this is genuine flow of
the flow.
Exactly. Yes.
Great. So what is one biggest mindset block you have seen among people?
That they don't ask. They assume they know. They assume they know that is the limitation or the challenges, but I can tell them, being very close to the community, I'm very, very lucky to being very close to the community. I have friends around, I have supporters around, and they are close to my heart. They all know this. So, and when I experienced the life with them, when I experienced the tools, when I experienced their daily stories, we know nothing. People know nothing about the challenges, the barriers, just for a profession of people with determination or people with disability is just to show up today. Like the way, like, from riding the metro, riding a public transportation, coming to the office, this is alone a journey, this is alone something that open different way of thinking, problem solving. Because the moment they wake up in the morning, they have a problem to solve, So the only thing that is really, I see people are really not putting this in mind. Don't just assume. Ask, like, would you be able to do X, Y, Z? I want you to work on an Excel sheet. How can I support you to work on an Excel sheet? This is all what we need, like, and rest assured, they already have gone through this, correct?
True.
So you just need to ask. They will give you the answer.
Give you the suggestions and options.
Exactly. I can do this. I can read by this. I can use the JAWS for example, for blinds. I need just like 1-2 days work from home, something like this. We call it accommodation, by the way, like to get accommodated, with the work,
with the environment.
Exactly, with the work environment. So, and by the way, everyone got accommodation. Like let's say, for example, someone who's having an elder to take care of. We should deal with some accommodation. In some days, he will take some work from home with the hybrid. He might come early, leave early, something like this, okay? So it's the same idea, okay?
So it's being more flexible.
Yes.
Based on the circumstances they are going through.
The equity versus equality, You love
the whole
this.
conversation.
I know. I have read a lot of
about it.
I have read a lot of your posts on LinkedIn about equity versus equality.
Because it's something which nobody gets it.
Yeah.
It's all about, everybody thinks equity and equality is the same, but it's not. It's different. So what I need to succeed and what a person of determination requires to succeed will be different.
Correct.
And giving different opportunities based on where you are is basically what equity is.
Yeah.
But equality is like giving everybody the same thing, which doesn't work. Right?
And by the way, also people might give up some things. And it might be cheaper actually for the company, like I can give you a very few examples, like for example, for like having the last update visual aid, something like for someone who's really like only will use the text over or something like this, he really doesn't need all this licenses, all these fancy features. They only need like small little feature called like voice over or something like they can support, or a JAWS or something like this, So it's really like you think it there's 2 ways. Some features can work for us, some are not, And people who are not coming to the office, you don't have to pay transportation, Like you need to think it the other way around, not only like, they're not coming to the office, they are chilling at home. No, it's not like this, like.
Great, great. I look forward to see how Enabled will be supporting organizations to change their mindsets, organizations and leaders to change their mindset.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever experienced a moment with a team member or a leader where their mindset visibly shifted and they had this aha moment like, oh, now I get it. Why you advocate for inclusion and disability inclusion? Have you ever had such moments?
I'm not sure if I can mention his name or not, but I will skip it for now. So it was a part of the awareness efforts we did in the in Dubai office. And then we, as a team, we thought about experienced disabilities, like actual experienced disabilities. So we came up with an idea called Meet in the Dark.
Okay.
And we have asked like senior executives to come in a room and run the meeting blindfolded.
Wow.
Okay, just simple like this.
Just
okay,
simple.
yes,
It's simple.
And one of our colleagues, he's blind. He is the one who's running this.
Oh.
Okay, he's the one who's running this, and I meant something behind asking him to go and to do this. And the task was simple. We starting from entering the room. You need to recognize who is you in the room. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4? You never know. Okay. And then we started to talk together, like our business, like this is how. And then there is a moment where you need to open your phone just to run through an email or something like this.
To do something.
And here where everything stuck, And it took actually the whole session. And it was very hard for the sighted people to open their phone, while our colleague Osman, it was very easy for him because this is related to the accommodation I was just telling to you. It's now the environment is not accommodated for sighted people, but it's now accommodated to blind people, So here where Osman can excel, actually, Osman was the only one opening his phone, the faster one. Osman was the only one moving around the room conveniently and with a huge trust. But all of us are keep touching
at each other.
Exactly. So this is actually, I remember our senior vice president. He came out of this meeting and he said, like, I have never imagined taking a lot for granted like this. I want this to be in every executive meetings in the company.
Wow.
And we make a plan to have it in every executive meeting where all the executive leaderships has to do a one-time meeting in a dark.
Oh my God.
And just I can see your eyes.
Yeah. I'm imagining the impact it has on them, right?
Yeah.
Because now they're experiencing it, which is brilliant. That's a brilliant way to make the mindsets shift.
Yeah.
I think there is no better way to make mindset shifts than experiencing the situation.
So this is what you do when you go to executives, and also for sure, like having this man at this position at this time was truly something that has helped us to do this, to be very honest. Also, it's about leadership, also purpose-driven, being open to understand what's real inclusion mean.
Sure.
So
You remind me of the time when I joined Oracle Women's Leadership. And one of the things that's a few years back, like 3 to 4 years back. And one thing which we intentionally started working on is to change the people's mindset. Because if we want more women in tech, if we want more women in a technology organization where it's more male-oriented, where the hiring is all done by men, it's necessary that we shift the mindsets of the people. And it's not just a mindset shift, it's also a cultural shift, especially in this region, because not everyone is comfortable working with women. And as you mentioned earlier, right, they have these doubts whether So they have these doubts whether, as a woman, if with children, can you work? If you have small babies, oh, how would you take care of the work and the babies together? So they have all of these concerns. So the first thing we started working on is changing mindsets. And for that, we went to our allies, which are our male allies, which are male leaders who are ready to advocate for us. And in every single event, we had them come in and advocate, and even saying that if you don't have diversity in a room, please walk out of that rooms. So that such powerful statements when it came from leaders, and that resonated with the audience, and slowly audience's mindset also started changing. And recently I remember I spoke to one of the managers, and he came and told me, you know what, Sajna, because of all the efforts you do, this time I have thought of intentionally hiring a woman into my team because I don't have a woman yet in my team. And I think that diversity is required. The diversity of ideas and thoughts are required. So I'm going to hire somebody who is a woman. And I'm like, now I believe that whatever we did for the last few years really make a difference. So every change begins with the mind. Now, can you tell me, for the audience also to understand, what is something about the lived experience of a disabled professional which we won't understand unless someone like you points it out?
It's how much effort and time they just need to do to show up. And show up starting from just coming to the office until they show up in a meeting, like until they show up to higher management, until to do networks. Okay. So this is something that we all forgot about. We all forgot about how different experiences we're all going through. And again, I don't want it only to be limited to people with disability. It's any one of us. It's different, okay? When you come today, it's not as easy as I come or not as hard as I come. It's just different, So we just need to respect this. We just need to take this into our consideration, show understanding, and not only showing, but also try to understand how others are living, what others are going through. And then I think things will be solved.
So what you're saying is that there is no difference between people with disabilities and the others, because anyways, you have to give some kind of consideration for everyone.
Of course.
Right? Because probably today you might be coming in and you might have a really bad day with the family.
Yes.
And the way you react and respond to situations at work might be different.
Yes.
And similarly for people with disabilities, because they have their own challenges. Yeah. So it's all about understanding each person and treating them the way they are supposed to be treated.
And see, this is actually an opportunity for creativity, for problem solving and innovation. As I said, it's if you're supposed to let's have it mathematically. If anyone wake up in the morning and they are supposed to face 10 problems, starting from just getting out of the bed. This is one problem you need to solve, all of us. And then starting to put kids into school, something like this, and all of this. You need to take this and multiply it for people with disability. They have the same, but it might be different problems. And that's what gives the creativity. And that's what gives the problem-solving ability to others, Yeah. So
they are better problem solvers than us.
I believe in this, but I don't want to be biased. I don't want to keep defending until I became biased the other side. No, I believe it's a trait, it's a talent that they can bring to the team.
I want to ask you a question. I want you to be really honest about this.
Yeah.
Do you ever get tired of explaining why disability inclusion matters?
I just get better in answering it in 50 different ways. I think I just became better. Before, I was not able to articulate what I have in mind. Because as I told you, I started this very early. I actually started it when I was in my preparatory school. My friend used to be blind, so I need to go with her to support her in her studies. So I ride the journey with her along with getting into a bus, going to by the way, this friend, for example, she has a scholarship from the American University. Okay. But she can just go there because there is no transportation.
Wow.
You know, she's totally blind. She born blind. She cannot get into the bus to go. Okay. So even if the society or the environment is giving her the scholarship, she cannot reach. It's, you know, like
Got
how
it.
it works. Yeah. Because of all of this, because of these moments, I remember, I think I did not get tired. On the contrary, I became more professional in answering it. And one thing that is I can relate, it happened today, the spark in your eyes.
Oh, yeah.
So wherever I tell about this, I think my energy goes to the people, and they start to have this spark in their eyes, which for me is a hope. Like a hope that is something would happen, a change would come. It's just hope.
Actually, after speaking to you now, going forward, the way I see people with determination will be completely different.
Oh, thank you.
So there you have made an impact.
I hope,
there itself.
I hope, yeah.
And when it comes to the question about getting tired of, advocating for inclusion, it reminded me of the time when I advocate for more women in tech or women in a professional environment in general. One of the few questions I get asked, and it's quite funny, is like, are you a feminist? Do you believe men and women can be equal? Sajna, do you think men and women can be equal?
Are you a feminist?
Are you a feminist? It's a great question. So initially I used to feel offended, but then I started to take it as an opportunity, because I know that they are challenging me, and now I have a door to just explore with them. How does this matter to me, right?
Yeah.
So they have opened the door. Anyways, I'm not going and telling them.
Yes, exactly.
So I started taking that as an opportunity, and I started telling them, like, I'm not advocating just for pay equity or opportunity equity. It's much deeper than that. It is for the basic rights. And they're like, what basic rights? Okay. Then I asked them a few questions. So it goes something like this. How will you feel if you were not considered as part of medical trials, and because of which the medicines you take today might not be effective on you, or you might not even know how it'll affect you, like the side effects.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that?
Exactly.
Then I asked them, how would you feel if you were 75% more probable to die in a car crash?
Oh.
Because the safety measures were never tested with you in mind. How would you feel?
Of course, yeah.
And then I have a silence.
Silence. A silent the place, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pin drop silence. And then I tell them, that's exactly how we feel. Because we are not part of medical trials. We are not part of car safety measures and many others. There is an entire book about it. So that's how exactly how we feel. And it's not about inequality, not just about inequality, it's about exclusion. And that's why all these conversations matter, Shuruk, what we have today as well, for women, for people with disabilities, because, and for everyone who is left out of the system by design.
Yes.
So these conversations matters, the awareness you create through Enabled and many others create through the organizations matter, because people don't understand.
Yeah, because simply the systems are not made for everyone. They are made only for sighted, able
The majority.
people. Exactly, you know, like from the very beginning, it was not part of it, you know, like exactly as you said, for women, like for, so I totally agree with you,
So have you seen any differences in how men and women lead inclusion into their organization? And is there something specific women bring onto the table?
Are you a feminist?
No. But I'm just curious to know, is there anything different?
No, I'm just, of course, I know you're not. Honestly, it's not about capabilities. It's about the approach. Okay. And I believe in this. So I believe that women and men, everyone has a role. Everyone has an approach. And for me, they are complementary. Like they complete each other. It's not like contradictory. So when I worked with women leader, it was very obvious how they work on this with a very high discipline and intuition and a strategic approach. So always they think how to make it for years to come, how to make this sustainable, how to make this in a good ecosystem and all of this. For men, it's more about bold move, okay? So, and the decisiveness. So whenever I wanted to move a decision, take an approval, so you know where to go, so it's more of you. It's more of the approach is different, but in reality, it needs all, correct?
True.
So we need everything to be in the place to make the change. So we need someone to execute. We need strategic thinking. We need intuition. We need decisiveness. We need boldness, okay? So we need women and men at the end.
Brilliant. Because you know why? It's always a teamwork.
Yeah.
Right? And without these different people with different capabilities come together, we cannot do anything. Even women,
Yes.
more women in tech or more
Yeah.
women in profession, it's not possible. We need everyone to come together, and everyone should have that mindset shift. So I'm glad that
I
doing
remember
it.
I was working with my manager, the last one, about disability, Mustafa Khalil, and then he was always telling me, comes to me and tell like, okay, what do you want me to do? Like, okay.
Tell me, I'll get it done for you.
Exactly. when I go and just talk about something with him, like, okay, tell me what to do. I will do like some, like this. And I remember when working with another manager, Sumayria Latif. So she was always like the one who's listening and then ask me the question like, okay, Shuruk, how we can make this strategic? How we can make it accessible for everyone? How we make it a wider change? Like, it's just the different approach, and it's all about you as a leader or initiator in this, and how to use when, where, and at what time. Yeah,
It's all about the person. It's not gendered.
exactly.
That's
Yes.
Since you were talking about those colleagues from Procter and Gamble, let's explore a bit on that side. You have worked on multiple initiatives in Procter and Gamble.
Yes, yeah.
When I was looking at your bio, you said that you have worked on 6 major inclusion programs.
Yes.
And that made Procter and Gamble look at disability inclusion in a completely different perspective, both globally and both regionally and globally, right?
Of course, not because me only.
But still, you were
too much for me. No, it's of course the team, but I had the privilege to work on initiatives from zero, if you can say, which for me, I love to do this. I always love to work on things from zero, from scratch. It actually gives a higher learning curve, and it gives you a hand-on experience. You're not coming and you just find everything in place and you're just going with it. This is needed, but for me as a person and based on my personality, I love working from scratch. Give me zero and give me resources and I will do it. Okay. So yes, I actually was very honored to work with Egypt team on Chime program. It's like a zero, like the program we started from zero, starting from making the office accessible. You remember the 5 pillars we're talking about? Yes. So we basically make these 5 pillars. We started by even printing the Braille signages this time. People depend on Braille a lot. Making the ramps up to awareness, making everyone aware, and then the brand and working on the employment itself and all of this. So this one was my baby, I remember. It's like the first official touch with the disability. And then when I came to Dubai also, I have been appointed and asked to lead the program for Dubai. And I was leading the employment, people with disability employment, where we were able to have actually 8 disabilities, 8 different abilities on site, different disabilities on site, which gives us a lot of learnings. You remember when I told you, and for an organization mature like Procter & Gamble, because in Procter & Gamble, it's a so mature organization when you come to inclusion, diversity, and all of this. But when you bring someone on the ground, I think it makes the whole difference. And we have been with all of this, we have been actually awarded so many awards related to this effort, but it's a teamwork. I want to confirm about this. It's not me alone. I'm just the enabler, you know. That's why I have enabled.
You are leading it. So you are a leader. Let's say that. You are leading that impact within that organization. And that's exactly why I was so happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much,
because
Sajna.
you just perfectly encapsulates what Lead2Impact is all about.
Thank you so much.
So you did all of that in Procter Gamble without a corporate title.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So what's your advice to anyone who wants to make an impact but feels small because they don't have a title?
You know, I love this question, by the way, because I never have a formal title, by the way. I used to be purchasing, you know this. It's so far away from this.
Nothing to do with that.
Yeah. And by the way, it's by my choice to work in purchasing. I also love being purchasing also. Sajna, it's all about you raise your hand, you know? You just go, okay? You feel like, I remember the first assignment for me when I were in Egypt, and then I remember the day I went to my manager, and then we were reviewing our like evaluate, how you call it, like priorities, performance, something like this. Yes. And then you need to put what you will work on next year. And then I finished all the business review with him. And then I came to the last one. I said, like, I want to lead the disability in our suppliers. At this time, I wanted, before even the Egypt program, I wanted to have my own initiative for supplier diversity. Oh, you know, when now we track women on business,
true.
I had the vision to people with disability on business.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
And I worked with
interesting.
I wanted to have this. And actually before I leave P&G, I was advocating for why this is not one of our key KPIs. As we track women on business, we should also track this. Yeah. So I came to him and I was like, okay, Samuel, I want to work on diversity, like supplier disability. And then he looks at me and then like, okay, but this is not in nowhere. Like no one is actually working on this. And then I was very, very lucky to have him at this point of time. And then he was like, I trust you, Shuruk. And here, you remember when we talk about women's and like, it's like, Shuruk, I trust you. If you just can finish your business and can do this, I'm your support here. I'll be supporting you. I have already know you. You can do this. You can. I know you will not affect your main job, and just go for it. So it's simple. It's in my story, Sajna. Like when you find something that is you truly passionate about it, you really want to do it, just go, just show up, just go volunteer, just say hi. And by the way, when I started, then the HR come with this, and then they knew that I was working on something. So I found someone calling me like, hey, we're starting the program in Egypt. What about coming? And then when I went to Dubai, they started, Shuruk, you're the one who's working in Egypt. Okay, can you please do this for us? And then someone from Pakistan was starting. And then they called me like, we're starting the program. Can you come? So it rolls out this until we reached a point where it was my happy point when the company came and they actually showed that they wanted to invest in a role for disability in the region.
Wow.
This was the success. This is what we were talking. It's natural. It comes as part of you. And we have actually a big team who are already leading this and who's already under the leadership of Sumaria already. And having the organization come to invest in a role like this is a success.
It is indeed a success.
Yeah. And I still remember my husband story. So he always tells me, like, when you want to take a photo, don't just say like, hey, let's take a photo. Just go and sit and stand in the frame. Correct? True. Yeah, everyone will come with you and the camera will click. Yes.
You remind me so much about my my journey
story,
of being an advocate for women at Oracle. So I don't want to go through it, but even though we advocate for different things, our journeys are so the same. And I agree with you. If anybody wants to make an impact, all that they have to do is start. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for others to begin it for you.
Yes.
You just go ahead and start it. And once you start moving forward, opportunities will open up. People will come to you. I've seen that. A lot of people we had just 2-member team. Now we are a 40-member team.
Oh, mashallah.
All 40 members consistently. I don't think they even work that much for their own in their own roles. They are so consistent. They are so productive. They are like, they come, they do their work. It's a volunteering role, right? Definitely.
Yeah.
They do it and then they just go back and they love doing it.
Wow.
So that's what I would say. As you said, just start.
Yes,
Just
exactly. Just start. It seems easy.
Yeah, and it's the most difficult part, right?
Exactly. That's why I'm telling you.
Difficult part. Yes.
It seems easy.
It seems easy.
We're not promising here that everything will be easy. You start and then you will figure out.
Yes. When you start and when you're out there, you're like, okay, now I'm exposed. I can just step back.
Yeah.
Right? Now you will find ways to make it work.
Yes, you're right.
That's where that's where the brilliance comes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So if you could whisper one advice or one belief into the ear of every woman who thinks that she's not ready enough or she's not good enough to lead yet, what would that be?
I have a very popular say, you are enough. Okay. So this is where every woman should start, because we have always this feeling that is, maybe I do this wrong. Maybe I don't deserve this. I know how it works. Okay. So you just need to remind yourself, and I'm telling you, you are enough. Just look in yourself, see what brilliance you have. I'm sure you have something brilliant inside. I believe in this. I believe that God created all of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created all of us in a brilliant way. So we just need to believe in this and start. So see whatever you want to do. And it doesn't have to do something with the corporates, by the way, Sajna. Or it can be some hobby you want to do. Like someone feel like, I'm good in cooking. Okay, go enjoy cooking. Go and cook.
Good.
Yeah. Just put on your camera, cook and see. Invite people and let them try your food, like it's like this. Whatever you feel happy. And don't think like, maybe I'm not enough. Because tell me who's complete. Yeah. And we all know, like, it might be like how people look, but in reality, every one of us has their own other side. So always think about this, So I can tell any woman, you're enough. Go ahead. Don't wait for someone. Just do what you love. And I'm sure you'll have a brilliant journey.
Thank you so much for mentioning this, because in my book, I'm currently publishing a book which is called Are You the One?
Wow. Yeah. I heard about it, the one about women habits, executive women habits.
Yes.
Yeah, leaders. Yeah.
Yes. So this book, in this book, I explore the habits of women leaders, both in political, non-political, business, in every different industries. And I decode the habits so that we can probably kind of emulate those habits and be successful in our own sense.
It will be a reality, like reality stories.
Exactly. It's all real stories. And from those stories, I decode some kind of habits which we can implement, and then I give some strategies on how we can implement it.
Yeah.
So in that book, when I was researching about these women leaders, I was surprised, because everyone, even though they were super successful, extremely successful, they still question themselves. It's not that they don't question themselves. Even if they question, like, am I enough? They still go and do what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
It's just a moment they say that, okay, I am good enough. I have the skill sets. I reached here. But more important, my mission is important for me. I want to achieve it. I'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yes.
And that was quite, that was the most, the aha moment for me from that book. Because when you're researching the lives of every single woman, this is the same story. They have questioned themselves, but still they have pursued their mission with grit, with determination, with persistence, And that's why they are successful.
And at the end, all what you will remember, and still talking to the females, like, what you remember, your success. You will not remember the voices around you that was telling you like, you're not good enough, you're not enough, you need to be X, Y, Z. Whether, by the way, I'm talking inner or external voices.
Exactly, both.
Yeah, it's at the end you will not remember this. I promise you, you will not remember this. You will just remember your success, the good things you do. And if it comes, that is, I see it also a little bit good when you always question yourself, is to also keep moving. Because if you also reach a point where you can see yourself like, I'm here, I done everything, like I cannot be. This is where it might not be in your favor. So at this point, you need to just rethink, okay, what can I do better? What can I improve? Like, if there is a new project, something good, I should work more on it or not. Yeah.
What you're talking about is that it's sometimes thinking whether you're good enough as of now is good, because that helps you to be more growth oriented.
Exactly.
Right? Because then you question yourself, you reflect. It's a problem when you question yourself and you just stop doing or pursuing what you want to do. But it's good if it's a good reflection point.
Yeah, you're right.
Which is great.
Yeah,
amazing.
You're right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I can't wait to read the book.
Thank you so much. It should be out soon, and I'll definitely let you know. So thank you so much.
Okay, sure.
Great. Since we are talking about women leaders and we talked about disability inclusion, this is something which I cannot avoid. This question I have to ask because everybody's talking about this. Everybody's talking about AI. Everybody's talking about how technology advancement is going to impact us, right? So I am curious to know how AI or technology in general is going to accelerate disability inclusion.
Wow, I can tell you, okay, because as I told you, I have a lot of blind friends around me, okay? So I can see how now they use the AI. I can tell you, I'm not here the expert. Of course, there's much better people to talk, but I can tell you that is now there is zero need for a braille, for example.
Wow.
Like you don't need, we grown up, that is you need to learn Braille. By the way, I learned Braille for some time.
For your friends? Was it for your friends?
It was out also of passion for me to learn and to see how the word is going, you know, like I used to learn it. Yeah. So I know how it was very hard and all of this. So now, for example, and this is a mission that is also for my company and through our accessibility leader there, he's also now like, but he's doing a voluntary basis. Like he teach the small blind kids on how to navigate in the life with AI and technology, not with Braille. You know how we shifted things, you know? So it's like this, because now in AI, I tried the Meta smart glass, okay?
Yeah.
So this is
Ray-Ban glasses, right?
Yes. Oh my God.
That's mind-blowing. That's literally...
Yeah, exactly. So I tried it and you just can walk, except for sure that it's not accommodating to Middle East and Africa. I have to tell this. It's not still, I think they need a lot of accommodation work. So for example, in our company, you're asking about technology. When we developed the site, if you tell me if you will have your own company 5 years back, I wouldn't have think about it. But now, the moment I thought about having website, I thought it was accessibility.
Yeah.
It came like, you know, like technical accessibility or digital accessibility. So actually, while developing our website, we follow the web content accessibility guidance. And we made a taste. We had an expert to test our site and to tell us like how we scored versus 100 accessibility. The one who developed for me the site, and this is part of the influence, by the way, like the one who developed for me, he didn't knew about accessibility. And then I started to say like, this photo is not accessible. And he's like, how can I make a photo accessible? And then, there's something called alt text. You need to enter something like this, you know? Okay. So it is always about like making sure that is you are up to date with technology. And in my opinion, it will benefit a lot. There is now also the smart QR code where people can use their mobile to read the instructions for them, to read what's there. You don't need to go and get your milk or something. You can just do like this, and then it gives you like what you need to do with your milk. So there is a lot of solutions out there. And this is when I talk about the product accessibility. Remember, I told you we would love also to see all our products accessible, not only for blind or something. No, it's also for cognitive disabilities, hearing, a lot of different disabilities. Yeah.
It's amazing. I can just hear you speak for the entire day. Like it's brilliant. Like there's so much of information which we are not aware of, which and definitely people with disabilities have to go through, which we are not aware of. And it's amazing technology is helping them navigate it better.
Yes.
And I'm glad to know that AI, because AI is also supporting, because we always hear about the negative impacts of AI.
Yeah.
But now you're telling us the positive impacts of AI. And this is great. So let's wrap up this episode with one final question. What is the legacy you want enabled and your work to leave behind?
Okay, so
it's a very deep question.
Yeah, it's a very deep question, and you ask it about enabled alone and me myself alone.
Both.
I'll start by me. Okay, so the fact is, Sajna, that is the employment rate within people with disability is 17 to 19%. Only 17 to 19% are employed, full-time employee. While when you come to abled people, the percentage is 60 to 80. Okay? So
there is a stark difference.
Exactly. Yeah. I think this is my mission. My mission is to have one hire in every organization, regardless it's a small, medium, big organization. My success is to see one hire. This is the legacy I want to leave. I just wanted to make the difference reasonable, like there is no reason for missing this opportunity in our organization. There is no reason. You're missing inclusivity, you're missing problem solving, you're missing creativity, you're missing representation of your customers.
True.
Okay? So it is, for me, like, just make the difference acceptable, This is, for enabled, of course, our vision is enabled to make sure it's a part of the DNA. We wanted to see disability inclusion as part of the DNA of any organization. And when I say this is when you enter a meeting, when you start to work on a solution, for example, in Oracle, when you start to work on a system, you just think how people will use this. Okay, this is all what I need. No one needs to come to you and tell you, okay, make this accessible. No, it comes to your mind by default. When someone in a big company is launching a product, they just keep in mind, okay, how my product will be used. I want this. This is what enabled want. Like disability inclusion be part of the DNA. And when we talk about this, not only product, we talk about employment, we talk about the environment, we talk about the partnerships. It comes naturally.
It's just that you want this to be a norm.
Yes.
And that's what you meant by being part of a DNA.
Yes.
Part of the DNA.
I always have this, like, I dream with a day that there is no exceptions. There is nothing of the system we need to do. Like, we're going like this. Okay, let's make an exception. Let's make an exception. Let's make an exception. No, it just comes with the normal system hiring, or not only hiring, I mean everything. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shuruk. Oh. It was indeed a pleasure to have this interesting and thought-provoking conversation with you. And I believe that everyone needs to have this conversation, especially in terms of, not just in terms of disability inclusion, but in inclusion in general as well. And we need more voices advocating for it. So Thank you so much for being here today. And I wish you all the great success in creating that impact with disabled professionals and also with organizations. Let's make inclusion as part of their DNA and let it be through enabled.
Oh, thank you so much, Sajna. I'm very honored to be the first. I hope you all the best in your episodes, in your podcast. I'm very fascinated with how you look for leadership with impact, purpose-driven leadership.
Yeah,
Let me
purpose-driven
call
leadership,
yeah. So best of luck of all what you do, and can't wait to see to have your book.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. If today's conversation made you pause, reflect, or rethink, then you have just experienced what true leadership sounds like. Shuruk reminded us that you don't need a title to lead. You don't need personal experience to care. But you do need courage to speak when others are silent. You need courage to act when it's inconvenient. And the courage to lead with consideration when it would be easier not to. One key takeaway for me from this conversation is this: we don't need to be affected to be responsible. Thank you, Shuruk, for setting the tone for what Lead to Impact is all about. And thanks to you for listening in. Remember, the future of inclusive leadership starts with how you show up today.